It's real, I'm moving this month. I still haven't figured out the details, but I know it's happening, and that's really exciting. I'm Thorn, I use he, him, his. Welcome to my gothic grotto, where I talk about crochet stuff and spooky, queer, pagan stuff. So yeah, this is my tiny goat, Banros. He has a ribbon bow that was left over from a choker I was repurposing for a project, so I thought I would give him a fancy bow. So yeah, first, thank you so much to all the new subscribers. I keep getting notifications on my app that more people have subscribed, and that's awesome. I really appreciate it. And so I'm in the throes of getting my move from Los Angeles to the Bay Area figured out, which is a ways, and there's a lot of moving parts. So that's why I haven't been uploading recently, and I'm not sure if I can upload too much for the next little bit, but right now I have some time and felt like it was a good day to talk about my plans and also the recent crochet things that I've done. I felt the urge to do a lot of ocean-themed, beach-themed crochet because right now I'm just getting this ocean vibe, like in a spiritual and also like weather sense because it's finally cooling off to the point where I would want to go to the beach in California. See, our summer is basically the dead season. It's too hot to be outside, at least for me, and I'm really looking forward to the winter now that the rains have come back and the weather's a lot cooler. So I showed this on my other channel, the podcast channel, Thorn in the Midnight Ballroom, but I will show it again. You might recognize this yarn from my birthday haul with the Joanne's video. This is the Red Heart Yarnspirations Unforgettable, and I don't remember what color this was, but it's one of those really soft mermaid looking variegated yarns that Red Heart has. And this is the this is the Lion Brand Shawl in a Ball Prism colorway, I think. It's the sparkly one. It has this tinsely metallic strand through it. And unfortunately that one is discontinued, but I did have enough to do this. And this is based on the butterfly stitch from the Butterfly Stitch Prayer Shawl, I think that's its name. I'll put the link on to the pattern on Ravelry. And this is basically my beach wrap, and it's kind of cool because I chose the butterfly stitch for several reasons, but one is that I used it for my Trans Pride shawl. If you remember the tour of my witchy projects video that I did a while back. Let's see if I can get it down here. Yeah, there it is. This was one of my first crochet projects, and I felt like the butterflies were appropriate there too, for obvious reasons. And then of course I did shells a little ways down, and then this lace, which I can't remember where. I have no way of finding the lace edging chart that I used, but I did manage to recreate it, so I could do a tutorial video on that if people still want. But the reason I recreated it was for this. It just felt appropriate to do the border in the same edging, and then for the waist ties I did a vertical shell stitch, one shell wide. So all the components of that are reworked into this one in a new way. My other oceany one is, this is the Wander yarn, the acrylic Wander yarn from Furls that I got from my gift card that I won. And I was saying, man, I'm going to have to do a ocean themed project with that. So I did. It's like a seashell poncho, mostly in the diamond stitch, but there are a few shells here and there. I think this is Moonbeam, Midnight, Laguna, and Sandbar. So I made some, they were going to be arm warmers, but I think they're more like detached bell sleeves that are going to be laced up. I haven't done that yet, but that will be cool. I'm also going to crochet some beads on top of this with some of my thinner yarn, but I'm not sure what that'll look like yet. So I've just been wearing it as as is so far. And I also did a belt in the same colors, so it just felt like it was important to use all of the yarn for this set of projects. So yeah. The air conditioner just came on. And I'm also working on my Halloween costume, which has turned out to be, well, it's really pagan and sort of based on or inspired by Stone Age things, but not meant to be exactly Stone Age. Basically, I'm representing my patron god, Gwyn, who I've mentioned before on the channel, in his Stone Age form, but in the modern day. So, like, I'll have my awesome goth boots that I bought to basically cosplay him a couple years ago in a much more modern looking form at that time. But now I'm like, I don't know, we're going primal, like Paleolithic hunter guide god. So for me it's more about the feeling or the energy of each piece of the costume rather than if it's strictly Stone Age. So I mean, I am taking a lot of inspiration from what we know of that time, which is not a lot, but still. So I made this spiderweb poncho, which I'm going to wear. And the nice thing about having top surgery is that I can just wear this without anything under it, and it's fine. It is now socially acceptable. And that feels kind of powerful, just like I'm not sure how to describe it, but just being sort of bare-chested, but just having my clothes be kind of more decoration than covering up. I mean, I will be decent for our time and age, like our day and age, but still, like, it kind of feels powerful. Especially, I wonder if part of it is being a trans person who has been taught to cover up my body out of shame, not just from transphobia, but also like growing up in a environment where people that were perceived as female were supposed to be really ashamed of our bodies, which was absolute BS. But anyway, spiderweb poncho. I will try to link the pattern for this as well. It's a free pattern and was really simple, actually. It just took a while. So this was made from the bamboo yarn that I got from Ice. Yeah, the baby bamboo, I think. And I realized, you know, it'll be up there in the Bay Area on Halloween night, and it is in California, but you know, it does get chilly, especially further north. And I don't usually, I don't feel cold as much, especially when I'm moving. Like I'm very sensitive to heat, but weirdly not sensitive to cold, up to a certain point at least. which is interesting because my patron god is a winter god. But anyway, I figured I might as well give myself something to wrap up in if I need to, and so I made a dragon shawl. It is not completely following the pattern, but heavily based on this one pattern that I bought on Ravelry, and I'll link that too. But yeah, the pattern was very helpful to follow along, even though I didn't completely go with it. But one addition I made was when I attached the panels with black yarn. Again, that was the baby bamboo, and then the main red yarn was the also ice yarn, and it's the bamboo soft air. And then I used some of the red yarn to slip stitch the black yarn. So what I did was I took the black yarn and did a single crochet all around each of the panels, and then I slip stitched one loop each of those 2 rows of single crochet so that they have like a red line in the center, and I feel like that looks cool. The other side also looks cool, and it almost looks like, well, should this be the front? But this does kind of look like the inside of a wing, so that's what it's going to be. And yeah, I added some lacy holes because I didn't want to do just an entire back panel of solid because I get bored easily. And it has the points, which is cool. Oh, I didn't notice one of them is longer than the other one, but I kind of like that because this whole costume is meant to be a little bit asymmetrical and just working with the natural shape of things. Like for my skirt or kilt thing, which I don't have with me right now, but I inherited some fabric from my sister, and one of the fabrics was this faux leather fabric. I have some pieces of it like this. It's very thin and doesn't really look like leather from this side, but it still kind of has that cool look that makes you think of someone wrapped in like deer skins or something, even if it's not exactly that. And so I took a couple of the larger pieces, and instead of cutting them in rectangles like I've been doing with my sewing projects, which is I've been making a lot of kilts heavily inspired by the ancient Minoan style of dress that the men wore. So instead of doing a neat rectangle like I've been doing for those, I felt like I was being guided to just like hem the natural shape of how it was. So it looked kind of like someone had used the furs as they came off, or the skins as they came off an animal. So I feel like that would be a cool effect. That does bring us to part of my costume that I hope will not be TMI, but in any case, I've been thinking, okay, so the kilt is an open garment. I need something to wear under it. I could just wear something modern, that would be fine, but since I have time, I've been thinking for my kilts and stuff, I would like to have some undergarments that feel less incongruous. Like, they don't have to be completely accurate, but just like the feeling of them, I kind of want it to like flow better with the outer garment that I'm wearing, if that makes sense. So I decided to try to crochet a loincloth. So I have a lot of this linen yarn from ice. So this is my experiment. It's the front panel, and then it's going to become a triangle in the back, and then you wrap it around the waist. Sorry, something fell down maybe. But anyway, it's going to become a triangle in the back, and then you wrap it around the waist, and then fold up the front. So I feel like that'll give me something comfortable to wear that also does the job of, you know, not showing things I don't want to be seen. I don't know how much I'm gonna dance around on Halloween, and I want to be covered, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this works or like how it works. I'm doing a pretty close stitch because I don't want any see-through, so I actually was doing half double crochet, but then I realized, you know, that's there are too many gaps in that, so I switched to single crochet, and then I got really bored. So this was the half double crochet, and then I switched to just a panel of single crochet, and that works. Sorry, the guinea pigs are, I fed them, but they have short memories. So I got bored with that, so I was like, well, what if I switch it up, and this is actually a line of slip stitch, and then on the other side I do a line of single crochet in the left behind loop. And it is very slow, but I've decided, instead of trying to widen and then like have these huge rows where I'm doing that the whole time, I'm just going to make this go up to my waist on the other side, and then I'm going to have a quicker and perhaps a bit more see-through stitch for the triangles on the sides, like kind of like if these are my legs, like the triangles have to go out so that they can wrap so that they can wrap around. And I feel like those are fine if they're a little bit more see-through. I just want the center to be pretty opaque. So I've thought a lot about this. I learned a lot about ancient Egyptian kilts and loincloths from a different video, which I'll try to link, which my friend linked to me when I was trying to make a Minoan version of those garments, and my friend is the founder of the specific Minoan pagan path that I follow. So she was helpful in telling me how the Egyptians and the Minoans would have differed in their style of clothing. But that video was a really good reference to start with. So yeah, I guess this isn't really different from a trans guy, which I am talking about the logistics of packing and stuff like that. And I don't mean packing my suitcases. I mean a different type of packing that I'd rather not go into the detail of, because for all that I love the dirty jokes, I'm also really shy, so it's an interesting combination. Anyway, so besides that, I have been working on other accessories for my costume. One of them I can't show you yet, but probably later. It's going to be a really cool headpiece. That was the one that I crocheted with sewing thread. Thankfully not, it wasn't very much, but it was, yeah. However, I can show you the bracelet. And I happen to have a fastening from a choker I made, and well, I had the leftover fastening. I think they came in a set of 2. There we go. Okay, so I crocheted some of these bronze rings on here and some buttons. Oh, and I had some silver rings too, but when I ran out of those, I switched to the buttons. So the bronze rings are actually for like the jewelry making, but I felt like it just felt like I was in the spirit of this. It felt like I was doing things in the spirit of the Stone Age by taking these shiny things and using them in a new way that showed their the beauty and stuff. And what is this yarn? Well, waxed thread. I don't know where I got this. I've had it for years. I think this, oh yeah, this says it's leather, and it feels kind of it feels kind of right to have at least some the real leather in my outfit. I almost don't want to say costume because it's like it feels like I'm embodying some sort of sacred work in this, and I don't know what that will look like. But I mean, I'm also going to have fun and like not do this in a way that pushes my beliefs onto anyone around me or endangers them either spiritually or physically. Like that's not what I want to do, but it feels like I'm just doing something important, almost like giving my physical presence as a way for my deity to interact with the world. And I have done this kind of thing quite often, even just in more casual settings. So I don't want anyone to worry about me from that perspective. Like, even though I don't know what's going to happen, it's not like I don't know what I'm doing at all. But yeah. Oh yeah, the thing about this thread is I think my ex bought it when we were when I was with them, and it feels kind of good and powerful to be using it for something involving my patron god, who is also my I'm a god spouse, as I've mentioned before. So part of my faith involves for me, and it's not true for every follower of this god, like as a sacred marriage. I've been trying to say that for a while because when I'm self-conscious, I stutter more, not in the way that people think. Like it's not one-to-one with being nervous, but it does affect it. So anyway, my human marriage, which is about to end finally, I've been separated from them for years, but it's finally being officially finalized. And again, I'm substituting a lot of words that I want to say, but I know I wouldn't be able to without stuttering, like legally and divorce. But like, yeah, that's what's happening. And they were not a safe person to be around. And they also were kind of tolerant of my being pagan, but they kind of made fun of, well, everything that I liked, including my patron gods. So it feels kind of nice to take something that they bought when I was with them. I don't know how it ended up with my stuff, but I think I think it was in a group of stuff that they just kind of told my parents, here, take it. So, and make this cool thing for my patron god who actually treats me well. I've been working on other accessory type things too. So besides the headband, which I can't show you yet, for my other hand, I have this bracelet, which involved a lot of beading, and I crocheted some wire, which it looks kind of cool, but also I don't think I would do it in the future. This I think I had more of the wax thread for the main thing, and then I tied some knots in it, and I also had 2 threads of sewing thread, one black and one white, and I had 2, partly because it looked cool and also just because I was trying to make it a bit stronger. So I threaded those through the beads that weren't big enough for the wax thread, like those glass ones. And this is kind of inspired by that one jet necklace that I can't remember where it's from or what the name is, but they found it and weren't sure how it was threaded at first, but after close examination, they realized it was probably threaded in several like half moons of jet beads, and then had these rectangular spacers, maybe. So that's kind of the idea, and I did actually do that with the necklace I made too, but with far fewer beads, so it's just one strand. But that was what I was thinking of. But I was able to use some of these really cool smooth oval shaped beads, which make me think a lot of those pieces of jet. Then here's more of the same golden linen yarn that I'm using for the loincloth that I talked about for 10 minutes. And this thing is really cool. Oh, it has a really cool story. I felt like it was time to use it again. It was part of my bracelet that I made last year, shortly after I started walking the Vicaro path, which is part of my spiritual path, and it's a bit complicated to explain right now, but I felt like it was time to let the bracelet go when I was visiting the Bay Area this spring, except I did bring the fastening button back with me, and it's been on one of my altars ever since, and it felt like it was time to bring it back into a piece of something that I would wear. So yeah, my understanding is that in the Vicaro and Minoan context, shiny golden or brass circles or like buttons or mirrors or something are seen as sacred to the sun mother. There go the guinea pigs in the distance again. But she's one of the goddesses I'm close to, and I didn't know that when I chose. I didn't know that about the brass buttons when I chose to use it in the bracelet, I think. But it's just one of those things that's kind of cool to find out afterward. So one more thing. I haven't finished these, but I'm working on earrings also. So they have these wires coming out, and I think I will attach them to something that will go in my ears. I like how they're not quite the same, and they each have a button at the end, which isn't the intended purpose, but it looks kind of cool, and it's newfound use. And these beads I've had for a long time, but haven't known what to do with them, and it just felt right to use them. I've noticed that Stone Age jewelry tends to be a lot more focused on stones that are not clear than our current jewelry does, and I tend to love the clear, sparkly stones that are cut into facets and stuff. So I do have a lot of those sparkly faceted glass beads too, but it was cool to kind of experiment with that older style too. And to keep my skirt kilt thing on, I made a belt. I felt like I should save the seam, the scraps of fabric from when I cut the seam allowances, because I like to do French seams, which means you put the wrong sides together first and then sew them, then you trim that and flip it the other way, and then sew it that way, so that the seam allowance on the inside also has a seam, so the raw edges are tucked in. So since I had these long strips of fabric, I was like, I need to weave them somehow, or like make a belt, but I only had two, so I also, what did I do here? Oh yeah, I made a piece of cordage using the method that I learned from Sally Pointer. I'll try to link her also, maybe like up here. And so I used the red bamboo soft air yarn, because that way the dragon wing shawl just is kind of tied into the belt in terms of color, not tied in. Though that could be a nice way to keep it on me when I don't have it on my shoulders. But so you can see the loose ends here at one end. Oh, I also have, this is the end I started from, so that's why it's short and even. And speaking of things on my belt, I made a small bag to keep my phone and stuff in. Ta-da! It's made out of the golden linen and the baby bamboo, which is black yarn. Those are both from Ice Yarns. And it has a little drawstring made of cordage. And it's kind of bunching out because I put another piece of the faux leather fabric inside as a lining to help catch things. It's currently folded in thirds, and I might need to just fold it in half so that it covers a bit more of the bag. But I felt like that was a cool look and a cool solution to the problem of where do you keep your stuff when you're dressed up cool. And also, how do I keep it on my belt? So we have this. I did some more cordage with the baby bamboo. It just felt right to do as much cordage as possible because that's a much older craft than crochet. Of course, I did do a lot of crochet too, but then I found this loop in my crafting stuff and thought, well, may as well use that. And I had some idea of having this be like a tightening loop. I'm not sure how that would work. So I just tied each of these around. And then I think this end will be tucked into my belt several times, and it has a weight so that it will not fall out. So it will kind of counterbalance the weight of the bag. It's not, well, it's not really a heavy thing. I think I got this from Michael's a long time ago, or Joanne's. But the point is, it'll be tucked into my belt, and it won't, and this thing will stop the end from coming out because it's wide. So this actually was going to be part of a two-part project, which I only made one part of back when I was first thinking about what my gender was. I had two names that I went by, Dusk and Rain, and Dusk was for the she, her name, and Rain was he, him. And I wasn't on tea or anything like that, so I had a much greater need for the set of beads and the name tag. Basically, I satin stitched the name Rain onto a piece of white ribbon, and then I had several beads that I added to that. It was a really cool piece. Like it wasn't really a name and pronoun tag like you would think, but it was just like a thing that had my name and pronouns on it, and it with the colors that kind of made me think of that side of me. So I also wanted to do one for Dusk, but I didn't really need to because everyone, like I could have, but I didn't have as much of a pressing need because everyone called me she as a default. So I never ended up using this, but this was going to be the center bead, like on the string of beads. This would be the end. And so with that in mind, I think it's really cool that I used this for part of this outfit, because I think an important part of it is like the gender fluidness of myself, as which for me is very connected to my spirit work, and also I feel like my god has a very gender fluid feeling to him. So like that's like a symbol that maybe only we know, but it's there. So yeah. Wow, I think that's all. That was a lot. But I really appreciate you listening to all of my updates and my recent crochet things. I'm so excited to be moving to the Bay Area because it feels like going home. My brother is there. I usually say my chosen brother, but it feels more affirming to just say my brother. And they use they them, and they and their family are some of the people that I really consider family and that I feel at home with and safe with. So unfortunately that hasn't been the case in the house where I am now. I don't really want to go into detail, but I'm my laptop screen just went off. But yeah, it's been hard, and tomorrow I'm finally getting something that I need for the move, and then I can make more plans. So it's not this, but we're also getting, me and my friend are also getting a bunch of clear plastic bins so I can pack my stuff into them, and that way I can see what I have in each bin, so it'll be great. I won't have to wonder, where's the yarn for this thing, which box did I put it in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to spending a few days packing after that. Currently it's just me and my sister in the house, so it'll be nice to just have that space, not have to like answer questions about what my plans are. I mean, I have told the family what I feel like they need to know, but you might be able to tell I'm not comfortable telling them a whole lot, so it'll be nice to just have that space to pack up my stuff and not wonder what they're thinking. So yeah, Banros and I would like to thank you for being here in the Gothic Grotto, and I may or may not film another video here. I might see you again in my new place, so we will see. Anyway, thanks so much, and see you next time.